Hey folks, and welcome to the latest video in the Rhapsody Power Pack series. I'm Andy Lapping, and in this video I'll show you how to populate or update a diagram with the elements returned by a query. Now, as I'm sure you already know, double-clicking a query in Rhapsody runs it, and the results are shown in the query results panel. For example, this one returns any model element with a phase 1 tag. Now, what if I wanted the results of that query shown on a diagram? Well, I can do that manually. First, I'll select all the elements here in the query results panel, but I have to use the Shift key to do that. Sadly, there is no option to select all. And then I can drag them onto an existing diagram. Then, of course, I can use Rhapsody's auto layout tools to tidy it up. Now, that's great, but it's not very flexible. Adding a subset of those query elements to the diagram could prove tricky if there are many results, and I don't get any filtering options for things like the types of relation that get added. Instead, let's use the Power Pack. I'll right-click the query and select Power Pack, Diagram Tools, Create or Populate Diagram from Query. That helper runs the query in the background and then presents the returned model elements as a table. Now, as with all of the Power Pack helpers, we can easily navigate from any of these elements back into Rhapsody. But now let's add them to a diagram. Now, if we had previously created any diagrams from this query, then they would automatically appear in this combo box so that we could update them. But since we haven't, the only options we have here are the types of new diagram that we can create. Now, those types are automatically populated from the currently applied profile, in this case SysML, but there are a ton of ways we can customize the helper to show only the diagram types we want, which is especially useful when using larger profiles like, for example, UAF. But let's leave that as a new block definition diagram. Now, this multifunction button has options to add elements to that diagram from the currently selected elements in the table, from the currently visible elements, or from the entire table. Now, the table itself has filtering, ordering, and selection options. Let's start by adding the selected elements, and since all of the query elements are selected by default, that is in fact going to add the entire table. So a new diagram is created and opened in the editing area. Also, the combo box here has changed, so any further operations we perform will modify that new diagram. Now, we can not only add elements to the diagram, but we can remove them as well, using this multifunction button, which has the same options as adding elements. Let's filter the table using a regular expression. Starts with R, and that now shows only the requirements. Now I'm going to click Remove Visible from Diagram. The diagram's updated, those requirements are removed. Now, when we add elements to the diagram, we can choose which relation types we're interested in, and only relations of that type between the elements we're adding are included. For example, let's first remove the filter to see the full query result again, and then let's clear the selection. And now we can select a couple of things. Let's choose wheel and engine and car. Now, of course, we can use any of the selection or filtering options here. Now let's choose a relationship type. Let's choose association, and then click Add Selected to Diagram. Now only relationships between my selected elements are added. Now, this does use Rhapsody's own Populate diagram feature, so association also covers things like part association and aggregation. Rhapsody only populates composition if it's a software model with instances inside classes. The table itself also updates and selects elements that are already on the diagram, but that is an option up here in the options menu. Now, queries are not tied to a single diagram. For example, if I choose to create a new diagram, let's say we want a new requirements diagram this time, I'll invert the current table selection, and then I'll click Add Selected. There is now a new requirements diagram with only those elements that I chose. Now, if I switch to the BDD, the block definition diagram, in that combo box, Rhapsody also switches to that diagram in the editor window. Now, creating a diagram like this adds a dependency from the diagram to the query that created it. That means I can close the editor, and then I can relaunch it on the same query, and I'll get the same set of diagrams that I can choose to update. It also means that I can launch the helper directly from a diagram, and it uses that exact same query. Lastly, it means that the query itself can be read-only. For example, it might be stored in a profile somewhere, and so is reusable. Well, that's it for this video. Over the course of the series, we'll explore the rest of the Rhapsody Power Pack features that will greatly improve your Rhapsody user experience. So please do subscribe if you want to be notified as those videos get published. But for now, thanks for watching.